Hey, how are you? Hope you're doing great. I'd love to know about you, so please leave me a comment and tell me a bit about yourself. My name is Luis Piluso. I'm a producer, mix engineer, and composer from Argentina. This is my recording studio, and here is where I work every single week. And today I have a very exciting tutorial for you, where we're going to take two different audio interfaces and smash them into one. That's great if you want to expand your inputs and outputs. I, for instance, have a Orion 32 Plus from Antelope. That is a 32 analog input interface. And recently, the kind people from Focusrite sent me the Clarett Plus 8 Pre, which is a great interface. So this allows me to have everything connected at the same time, all my instruments. That's something that I love to do. And because on my main channel, that is in Spanish actually, I review lots of gear like I'm doing now in this channel, which if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead, because this channel is just starting out and it's going to be here for a long time, and we're going to grow fucking big. So I would love you to be part of this journey and get to know you better. So like I just said, we have 32 inputs and analog inputs from the Orion, and the Clarett has 8 analog inputs, even though we can expand both interfaces with digital inputs via the ADAT. So I'm also testing right now the new microphone from Focusrite, that's for podcast, and I'm also testing out the vanilla preamp from Tierra Audio, which are handmade in Madrid. So if you want to see a tutorial or a review of those products as well, leave yourself a comment below and I'll make sure to record a video of it. So this is very easy to set up. So we have to open up the audio MIDI setup to create one interface, because Pro Tools, which is software I use, only reads one interface at a time. So we have to actually go into the system of our computer to be able to combine both interfaces and make it seem as one. So my DAW, Pro Tools, or whatever you're using will think that it's only one when it's actually more. So this is very easy. It has a couple of things to keep in mind which are very important, and you won't want to skip that. So first of all, we hit the plus button and we create an aggregate device. Now we can choose from everything that's connected to the computer. We can choose our different interfaces. To make this easy for this tutorial, we're just going to pick two things, and we're going to pick, first of all, the one we want to be our master. So this will be the Orion TB playback. Then we're going to choose the Clarett Plus 8 Pre. The reason why I chose the Orion first is because I wanted it to be the master clock. The clock means how often it's going to sample our audio. In film, we have frames per second, and in audio, we have sample rate. And sample rate are lots of tiny little photos or pictures inside of 1 second, but in audio, so samples. That means that, for instance, I'm now recording in 48K. That means that there are 48,000 samples taken in just 1 second. That's fucking crazy. So it's already recognized the Orion as the clock source, and the sub device is the Clarett, and we can see both their inputs and outputs right here. So there are a couple of problems that can show up by having different interfaces connected at the same time. The best way to avoid problems, which are normally like problems with the clocking or things getting a little bit phasey, so we want to keep each instrument like in separate interfaces. That means that, for instance, drums, we might have 8 channels, and both of these interfaces can handle 8 channels. So I have to choose which one I'm going to use, so I don't have phase problems. But if I actually chose to do 4 channels on one interface and the other 4 on the other one, I'll probably have phase problems because things might drift a little bit. So if we keep different instruments for different interfaces, that'll be great. So now let's just change the name of this aggregate device and just put new interface Orion Clarett. So now we go into Pro Tools. I have a little session that I have prepared here beforehand. I'm going to choose my new interface. So I go to Playback Engine and I'm going to choose my new interface Orion Clarett. So this will close down and will open up again. So now if we go into our I/O, we want to hit on input default and the same thing for the outputs. That will give us both interfaces at the same time. So for instance, we can see that the Orion goes up to 32 and then we start with the Clarett, which I don't know why it's not showing exactly input 1 right here, but let's change that and let's put Clarett 1 and 2. And we can do the same for all of the other inputs, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. So I'm going to export these settings. I'm going to just throw it into my templates. Oh, it's not going to let me that. Okay, let's do like this. Saved. Great. So now, for instance, I have my drum brute impact, which is a drum machine from Arturia. I'm going to plug it into this preamp, which is connected to the Orion. And then I'm going to plug in a guitar straight to input number 1 in the Clarett and see how that goes. So now the main thing that I'm testing out is if I can record different instruments in both the different interfaces and see how they work together. And see that there's no latency and things like that. So that's very important. So I have my beautiful Japanese telly from Fender from the 80s. So I'm just going to hit that. So that's great. It didn't have any latency at all. So now I have other channels here that I have opened up from a test I did where I took out, like from a click track, I sent it out of the Orion and into the Orion again and the Focusrite, just to make sure if there wasn't any kind of alignment or phase issues. And actually there was like a small sample difference, which was like around 40. And something that's crazy that I don't understand how Pro Tools allows this. I actually did like an internal bus going through to Pro Tools, like in the same, without going out of the software. And it had way more latency than coming out of the interface and coming back in, which was very weird. I mean, they should check out their internal buses and see that everything's okay. So anyways, I hope this was helpful and let me know how it goes for you. I would love to get to know you better. Leave me a comment below. If you have any ideas or anything you want me to check out for my next video, please leave it below and I'll happily check out your idea and see if it's possible. So I'm Louis Peluso, and if you're looking for great studio monitors at a cheap entry-level price, go and check out this video below where I review the Adam Audio T8V. See you there.